And then senior year, I went to Gay Pizza, which is the LGBT support group, and I was petrified when I was there. And then Meg was there. She set her eyes on me, and then we met at a party again. And it was kind of after that, the cat was out of the bag. People took pictures, put them on Facebook before I even knew what happened. Well, I actually work with two people who are St. Joe's grads, and actually one of them had also entered the Hawkmate contest, Natalie Gregory. And so she's like, oh, you should do it. And my other friend Christy was like, oh, you and Meg should do it. It would be great. I was like, oh yeah, this would be fun. And it didn't, I guess on some level, I was like, oh, I wonder if they'll actually post it. But I was mostly like, oh, this would be fun. Like, I wonder if we will, we'll get enough likes to win or whatever. So I came out and I was like, oh, we should do this. But Meg's really better at articulating these things. And so I was like, okay, you do it. So we worked on it together, and she posted it on Thursday. And it was after they posted it, and we didn't hear anything from them other than the automated email the next day. I was like, I wonder if they will post it. So it wasn't until after we had actually submitted the story that I was like, well, maybe they won't post it. But after they didn't post it on Friday, I was like, oh, well, they said 24 hours, and now it's the weekend, so we'll give them till Monday. Didn't see anything on Monday, and I was like, something's going on here. And then they started posting other people's. And that sucked. It was like, I kind of expected, I wasn't sure if they were actually going to do it, but I was still hoping, that they would be proud. They would be proud to say, oh, look at these two people. Look how much these two alumni have brought to the university, and now they're together, and they're together representing St. Joe's. And they didn't do that. And so we emailed them on Monday night, and then we still weren't sure. Like, maybe they're just inundated with requests, and so it's taking a long time. Here's our story again. And we didn't hear anything back. Didn't hear anything back on Tuesday. Didn't hear anything back on Wednesday. And I finally called them to try to track somebody down. And I spoke with somebody, and he told me that they weren't going to post it, that they had, discussed it, all this stuff. And, when I was on the phone, I was at work. I had to close my door. I was crying. I was shaking. Like, it was, he felt really bad about it. He was like, I hate to have to tell you this, but we're not going to post a picture. And it was just, it was just like a knife in my heart. It just hurt, this is St. Joe's, is our alma mater. We're so proud, so proud to be part of this community and have grown up here. And they're basically telling us that they didn't really want us.
Well, our initial reason for making this public, because we did think, okay, do we just let this go and chalk this up to another time of being discriminated against, or do we speak out? And I think the pride I have in St. Joe's, I knew that the community would realize that this wasn't right. And when we were typing up the note online, at the end of it, I was thinking, okay, well, what do I want people to do? I don't want to just say, well, this happened and that's it. What can people do? And so basically that was to start a dialogue to promote change. At that point, it was far beyond the competition. At that point, the competition itself was completely in the back of my mind. It was, how can we use this experience to promote positive change to ensure that not just alumni who identify as a member of the LGBT community, but all alumni are treated equally, no matter what color you are, where you come from, what you do with your life, your story, your age. All alumni are treated with the same dignity and respect. And I think for us, we didn't feel that respect when it felt like we were getting ignored first, and then on top of it, that we were being discriminated against. So for us, it was never the reaction will put us in the competition after that. It was, how are you, as the Alumni Association, going to make a change from this point on? How are we going to move on from this? And what are you going to do to reach out to the diversity of your alumni? Because I know plenty of alumni who do not fit this stereotypical St. Joe's role, I guess. And so how can we make everyone feel inclusive, to know that they are respected and acknowledged as a St. Joe's alum? So I think for us, it's mostly about, what is the Alumni Association going to do to change this?
Well, the whole thing, I think it's nice. Well, at first I thought it wasn't so good, like that they refused to let them just because they were like homosexuals and stuff like that. But I'm glad that like the reaction it had from the student body as like a whole, like everyone coming together and saying that they should be allowed to do it. And I think it's really nice the way the campus like kind of connects over the same issues.
I believe it was an email saying that the church was not going to recognize same-sex marriages, which I think is a little bizarre, considering that we sponsor SJU Unity. We have Unity Week where we have a gay, lesbian, and transsexual alliance, or a club on campus, and we also have a gay priest who teaches here. So I think it is wrong of them to go about this in this way. I mean, they should have just posted it, really. Just post it, and if they win, they win. They should have been treated like any other couple, because in my eyes, they are just another couple, and they're Hawkmates.
I was really impressed with how the GSA handled it. I think how Megan and Katie really took, I think, a positive step. I was really impressed with the fact that they really kept focusing on we want to turn this situation into a positive. This is something where, we don't want to let this kind of besmirch a name or anything. We're taking this as a learning opportunity to really help the campus grow, to help improve some kind of a dialogue. I'm really all about that, and I was very impressed with how the meeting was handled. So, good job.
I just think it's important to remember that we're at a Jesuit university, and kind of the thing that we support is accepting things, and that's what a Jesuit would do. We got to remember that. And I don't know, it's kind of disappointing to find out that this happened.
After hearing and reading about the whole situation, as a St. Joe's student, I'm kind of upset by it. I'm a little pissed. I don't think it's a great reflection of what St. Joe's is all about. Spirit, intellect, purpose, none of that seems to go with what's been going on. As a student, last year I wrote an article for The Hawk about LGBTQ awareness, and I think it needs to be taken a lot more seriously on campus.